Every great power has a hidden vulnerability. Sometimes it isn't an army or an economy. Sometimes it's a single place. China has become the factory of the world. Every single day, millions of products begin their journey here. Phones, computers, cars, machines, products that eventually reach homes thousands of kilometers away. At first glance, China seems almost unstoppable. Its factories supply nearly every continent. Its ports are among the busiest on Earth. Its economy has transformed global trade. But behind this extraordinary success lies a dependency. One that most people never think about, because almost everything that powers this enormous machine passes through the same route. A narrow stretch of water, thousands of kilometers from Beijing, that quietly supports one of the largest economies on Earth. Every year, more than 100,000 ships pass through these waters. Nearly 1/3 of global maritime trade moves through this corridor. And for China, the importance is even greater. Around 80% of its imported oil travels through the Strait of Malacca. Now imagine that one day this route suddenly becomes unavailable. No explosion, no invasion, no destruction. Ships simply stop passing through. Within days, oil deliveries begin to slow. Factories start running out of critical materials. Shipping costs surge. Global supply chains begin to break. At this point, you might be wondering, why not simply use another route? The problem is geography. There are other ways to reach China, but they are longer, more expensive, and far less efficient. For every extra day at sea, fuel costs rise, shipping becomes slower, and every delay ripples through the global economy. China knows this. That is why it has spent decades trying to solve the problem. New pipelines across Myanmar, rail connections stretching deep into Central Asia, massive investments in ports across the Indian Ocean, each project designed to reduce its dependence on a single choke point. Military strategists have a name for this vulnerability: the Malacca Dilemma, because whoever controls this narrow passage could influence one of the world's largest economies, not by invading China, not by attacking its cities, but by controlling the flow of trade. Chinese leaders have discussed this vulnerability for decades. Former Chinese President Hu Jintao called it the Malacca Dilemma, because nearly 80% of China's imported oil has traditionally passed through this narrow corridor. It isn't just a shipping lane, it's an economic lifeline. Does this mean China could simply be cut off? Not exactly. Closing the Strait of Malacca would be an extraordinary event. It would disrupt not only China's economy, but global trade itself. Every major economy would feel the consequences. And that's exactly why no country wants the Strait of Malacca to be closed, because the consequences would reach far beyond China. Factories in Europe would feel the impact. Energy markets would react within days, and prices around the world would begin to rise. China understands this risk, and it has been preparing for years. New ports, new pipelines, new railways, even a rapidly expanding navy, all designed to make sure that one narrow passage never becomes a single point of failure. Has this ever happened before? Not completely. Despite piracy, regional tensions, and occasional disruptions, the Strait of Malacca has never been fully closed to global shipping, because the consequences would affect far more than China. That's exactly why governments across the region have a shared interest in keeping it open. But here's the real question: Will China ever escape the Malacca Dilemma? Or is this simply the price of becoming the world's manufacturing superpower? Can China solve this problem? Perhaps. Every year, new infrastructure makes the country a little less vulnerable. But no amount of investment can change geography, and that may remain China's greatest strategic challenge for decades to come.